All right, you guys, so yesterday we left off and we had discovered that the two different types of milk had some different shaped bacteria in them. The bad milk had three shapes: a sausage shape, a coccyx round shape, and then a curd vibrio shape, and then the other one just had one that looked like a ball and one that looked like a sausage, so only had two, the good milk. All right? So I think we did this part, right? Yep. And we're on our own, right? And this is kind of where we left off. I had you guys write down the different types of bacteria. All right. And then we're going to look inside of this Black's Medical Diagnosis book. We did do that. I can see. We clicked on it. So we've looked in there. Let's take a look at the culture dish, okay? Because this will be important later. That's a hint. That's a jinkies. Okay? I'm going to need to blow up the screen a little bit. Not supposed to blow stuff up in school, right? Yeah. So it says you inspect the dish. On the glass top of the dish, there's a piece of tape with what's called gentamicin on it. So that's, yes. Gentamicin is one of our antibiotics, jinkies. Scrawled across it. Inside, you see someone stuck a paper disc in the exact center of the agar. That's just the medium that the bacteria can grow on if it's growing. Please, it's not time to talk to your neighbors. The disc seems to have been soaked in something. You can see the white growth blossoming all over the dish, right up to the paper circle. Jinkies. You turn the dish over. On the bottom, there's a label that reads, Kirby-Bauer Disc Diffusion Test. Antimicrobial agent, gentamicin. Inoculation is the blackout syndrome from Dr. Susan Liddell. From a timestamp, you learned the dish was prepared several hours ago. The biology text. You flip to the book's index and see it has a section entitled Antimicrobial Chemotherapy. You flip through the microbiology book. In the antimicrobial chemotherapy chapter, you find a chart about antimicrobial drugs. The antibiotics from Franz Rack are all included. So, this is where you're really going to want to pay attention because you have a bunch of different drugs, and only one of them is the one you're going to give the bleeding guy in a little bit. First one is amphotericin B. It's a narrow-spectrum bacteriostatic drug useful against fungi. Jinkies. Gentamicin. These are all jinkies. Okay, pay attention. Take notes. Gentamicin is a narrow-spectrum bactericidal drug generally useful against gram-negative bacteria. I'm not going to say jinkies. These are all jinkies. These are all jinky. These are all clues. Amantadine is an antiviral drug useful against the various influenza viruses. Ethambutol is a narrow-spectrum bacteriostatic drug useful against mycobacteria. Amikacin is a narrow-spectrum bactericidal drug generally useful against gram-negative bacteria. Acyclovir is an antiviral drug useful against many viruses. Tetracycline is a broad-spectrum bacteriostatic drug useful against most gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. It's actually one that's often prescribed for infants when they get sick. Penicillin G, which we know as amoxicillin, is a narrow-spectrum bactericidal drug useful against gram-positive bacteria. Very common cold-type bacteria. So a footnote to the chart tells you that the bactericidal means the drug kills the bacteria. Bacteriostatic means that it suppresses the growth of bacteria. And if a drug works against a wide range of bacteria, it is called broad spectrum. If not, it is narrow spectrum. Jinkies, you think? So the mice that Zach inoculated scamper around their cages, all except for one. The mouse in cage F5A is lying on its side in a pool of its own bright red blood. It is certainly dead. The mice in cages MA and CWA are both alive, but quite bloody and tired looking. All the other mice appear healthy. From Zach's notes, you see that mouse F5A was inoculated with the bacterial strand out of evil milk A, things less than a half micron. CWA was inoculated with the whitish bacterial culture from evil milk A. Mouse MA was inoculated with evil milk itself. Go to the back room. That was a Jinkies, by the way. The bleeding man. Cautiously, you look through the window in the door in the lab, and the bleeding man is slumped tirely against the desk, blood dripping off slack hands. Suddenly, you notice a poster on the wall behind him. It shows how bacteria are classified by shape. A spherical one is a coccus. A sausage is a bacillus. And a corkscrew is a spirillum. Jinkies. You wish you could have another look at the bacteria. You think maybe you could make it to the microscope without the man noticing you. Let's go for it. Quietly, you slip out into the lab and move over to the microscope. Behind you, the bleeding man takes no notice or is too tired to care. Again, you look at evil milk A under the microscope and write down what you see in the notebook. Milk A bacteria types. Coccus, colored purple. Bacillus, colored purple. Curved bacillus, colored red. You jot down. Jinkies. Then you look at good milk B. Milk B, bacterial types. Coccus, colored purple. Bacillus, colored purple. You write down. Jinkies. You tiptoe back into the room. You'd better have taken something from that. Jinkies. Well, you say to yourself, I think I know which of Fran's antibiotics is most likely to save this poor guy's life. You select the antibiotic. It's up to you. Which antibiotic do you think would be most likely to kill the pathogen bacterium and save the bleeding man's life? Don't talk to anybody else except for your group members. This is way more complicated than the last two parts. I know. I want you to tell me in a moment which you think it is.